and wonderful to have you on this beautiful day being part of our 10 minutes of morning calm. First, just a little word. Like our content, it's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today. Again, as always, we deeply appreciate your support here at New Church Live. It makes a huge difference in what we do. And today we're going to talk about is the power of half measures. And it's interesting. This is a big topic, and we live in a world where we tend to like divide things very quickly into binaries and very quickly into all or nothing. And we have what Amanda Ripley beautifully called, conflict entrepreneurs who are great at sort of stoking those fires, that it's all or nothing, all or nothing, all or nothing, all or nothing. That is not a great way to live life, period. And it certainly is not something we find in Christianity, even when you read the New Testament. It's not something that we can look at and say, oh yeah, Jesus is all about all or nothing. And what's brought this to mind has actually been reading a fascinating book on Abraham Lincoln, a man of deep faith, not religiously affiliated with any particular brand of Christianity. He clearly was somebody who saw himself that way and really believed in this idea of half measures. And the part that was striking to me yesterday, reading the latest book on him, was this idea that when we measure Lincoln and his handling of slavery, when we measure it compared to the abolitionists of the time, the radicals who wanted instant emancipation, he could look very slow, very plodding, very backward, very compromised, very political. He can look all those real negative things. Which is true, right? And I'm taught American history forever. Easily can dig stuff up like that. And yet, when you switch your perspective to where American culture was at that time, he actually was very liberal, very radical, very progressive, very much pushing the envelope of things. And just a simple little example of that is the Emancipation Proclamation. So he frees slaves, but he really only frees them in the South. He doesn't free them in the 5 border states, which were northern states that were pro-slavery, that had slaves that remained with the Union. He didn't free them there. He freed them in lands that he didn't control, which is kind of interesting. But he freed them. I mean, that's a huge document, so important. We celebrate it with June 19th. The Juneteenth, as it gets called sometimes. So what does that mean, friends? Well, that means that we really have to be thinking in terms of half measures and be thinking in terms of the long run. This is no small thing. And it's easy to just kind of, well, let's just be willing to have a conversation. But I want to kind of be a little strident about it, actually, a little bit emphatic, because there's not going to be a way forward with a lot of the challenges we have if everything becomes a life and death battle. John Smith, who was famous coach of University of North Carolina, he said, and I love this line. He said, "If every battle is life or death, you're going to be dead a lot." And that's again, we come at where there's no half measures. Sometimes we're just trying to get to the next point. We're just trying to move things forward, and it is going to be messy. We're not going to get our way. We're going to get little half measures, and maybe that's exactly the way God has it planned, because that's how we bring things along, and bring things along in ways that really, really have a staying power to them, because we're simply not leaving huge blocks of people behind. Now, obviously, again, important caveat, are there times where it's just like, yep, we're making an emphatic stand on this. This is wrong, period, end of story. Absolutely. But that's probably a lot less than what we imagine it to be. So, the biblical line I was thinking of is just a famous one where Jesus, again, does not become a conflict entrepreneur. He doesn't sort of come through as this strident, harsh, my way or the highway person. Is the famous line from the cross where he says, "Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing." I mean, that's such a beautiful statement of grace, and a beautiful statement of look, people just don't get it, and they don't, and we need to understand that, and not even be in the judgmental place of like they don't get it. It's like it's much more coming from a place of how can we work forward, and how can we move forward together in a way that's going to make our communities, our churches, our families stronger and better, and be in that conversation, and notice that it's going to move by half measures, And half measures can actually be far more lasting than the bombastic stuff that we sometimes get to experience in our culture these days. So that's the thought, folks, for the day is the power of half measures. So if you're finding yourself in a binary argument with someone where it's all or nothing, be curious and maybe even bring it to the person who you find yourself in the binary with. Like, yeah, I wonder if there are half measures we can agree on. And I wonder if there's any powerful half measures we can take that would start to move this forward in the world. And again, creating better communities, better churches, better, stronger families, stronger relationships, all that good stuff. So, friends, that's my thought for today is may you have a day of half measures. May you have a day where you're just working forward and as best you can with all the muddled stuff that we have to work with in life. And yeah, and that we just breathe and find a lot of grace there. So that's the thought for today. And with that, friends, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little breath. We're going to do a little meditation. We're going to do a little prayer. And yeah, and then after we're done those things, we'll say hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath, a little meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's get a little cheery hello to folks. See how everybody's doing this morning on this fine, fine, fine morning here. All right. Linda, good morning to you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Morning to you, Kim. Hope life is good. Deneen, hope you're doing great. I've been thinking about you and your beautiful family recently. I think it's time for us to get together for a dinner. I think that's what it's time for. Sherry, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well as well. All right, so let's flip over onto our New Church Live page here. A few more comments over there. All right, we are all good to go, folks. So I'm wishing you folks all the very best today. And yeah, have a day just realizing there's great power in half measures. And life does not have to be win-lose with everything we do. We can find those half measures, we can live with those half measures and create a better world because of it. So friends, that's what I have for today. Wishing you all the best. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.